This is the Para Cave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, and co-sponsors Bo Cook from Loan Market, Scott from Brightside Detailing and Ceramics, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, the official clothing partner of the Para Cave Podcast, and the official media partner of the Para Cave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
Welcome to another episode of the Para Cave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Para Cave.
Yes, welcome back to the Para Cave Podcast. This episode is the chat that I had with the Duckman last night on Pulse FM 89.9 FM on his weekend sports wrap show where we preview round 11 of the NRL. Now, during the chat there was the game between the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs and the New Zealand Warriors being played, and the game between the Penrith Panthers and the Sydney Roosters was coming up as well. So you will know the results of these games by the time this podcast comes out. But in any case, we discuss the other games that are being played throughout the round, have a little bit of a chat about each game, and then after the previews of the games, we have a little bit of a chat about expansion, and also Mitchell Pearce as well. So a little bit of a chat about that. So I really hope you enjoy that. Now, you can catch the live version of these chats on Pulse FM 89.9 FM every Friday just after 7 o'clock and every Sunday just after 7 o'clock. So the Friday chats are generally a preview of the round, and the Sunday chat is a review of the round. So you can check out those chats live on 89.9 FM just after 7 p.m, but I will bring them to you as a podcast as well. So bit more content for you, the fans. So plenty of content coming out on the Para Cave Podcast these days. So currently we also have the interview with Dennis Moran as well, former Parramatta Eels player and English Super League player. So that one is still live as well. And also coming up a little bit later today, Saturday, is the new podcast that I'm going to be trying to do each week, is the game day preview with a celebrity fan or a massive fan of the opposition to whoever is playing Parramatta. So stay tuned for that one. This week it is with Canberra Raiders massive fan, and you'll probably know who he is, the Simon, the Canberra Raiders drummer. So that'll be out a little bit later today, so stay tuned for that one. So 2 podcasts out in the same day. Very busy, lots of content, so I hope you enjoy both of them. So for now, it's over to the Duckman.
All right, welcome back to the Weekend Sports Wrap. So that's a bit of a late hit there. AFL, apologies for that. So Richard is remorseful about that. He's doing his best. He was up at Armidale, so tough drive. My old lady used to live up at Glen Innes, so my mother, so for anyone I'm going to offend there, so I'll call her my old lady. She lived up at Deepwater, actually north of Glen Innes, between Glen Innes and Tenterfield, where, what was his name? Peter, can't remember. He sung, Still Call Australia Home. Why can I not remember his name? Fully blanked it. Troy, we've got Troy Warner on from the Para Cave Podcast. Troy, how you going?
I'm going fantastic, Duckman. And is it Peter Allen that you're thinking of?
Peter Allen, that was it.
Yeah, there
he
we
rung
go.
a Still Call Australia Home. So, yeah, Tenterfield Sadler. So, my old lady lived up in between Glen Innes and Tenterfield, about halfway in between them both. It was a long time ago, a long way out of Sydney, 700 k's. So, it's a nice area up there. Not sure if you've been up that way, but it's definitely worth checking out every once in a while. So it's a good environment, nice and cool too.
Yeah, look, Armidale is actually where my latest podcast guest grew up, Dennis Moran, former Parramatta Eels player, so cousin to Dean Witters, so that's where they grew up actually, and played for the Narwan Eels.
Yeah, that's a bit of a spin out. So I didn't know, but so I knew that one of them came from up there, Dean Witters, but I didn't know that Dennis Moran did as well. So there you go. So find new stuff out every day, they say. All right. So did you catch the game last night? So Melbourne Storm up against the Broncos, 24-16. I only caught the back end of it. Pat Corrigan looked like he got ripped, to be honest with you. So for his 10-minute sin bin for the hip drop or whatever, then he got off it today anyway. That didn't help the Broncos. That really broke their momentum. So when that happened, but saying that, I think the game was probably over and done with once Adam Reynolds went off injured as well. So it was all a bit of a weird game. Melbourne got the win. Broncos did all right. So, but they might struggle if Reynolds has got ongoing injuries here.
Yeah, look, it was a cracker of a game, wasn't it? It probably went for longer than 80 minutes, to be honest, but with all the stopping and starting. But, two traditional rivals. Brisbane don't really have the best record down in Melbourne. Melbourne seem to have the wood over them. But, yeah, there's certainly some controversy that came out of that game. As you said, Adam Reynolds went down early, so we wish him all the best in his recovery. I'm not too sure how long he'll be out for. Probably the 11 days at the moment with the concussion stand down, but maybe a little bit longer after that. But we had that one, had that moment. We had, as you mentioned, the Pat Carrigan hip drop tackle that today got cleared, and Pat's got no case to answer for, so he still copped 10 minutes in the sin bin for that one. So I think even Melbourne coach Craig Bellamy said he was a bit confused as to why Pat got 10 minutes in the sin bin for that one as well. So as is all us fans about this hip drop tackle, we can't put our finger on it as to what an actual hip drop tackle is. So
100%. It just looked like he was making a normal tackle around the hips and then fell down to the ground. He certainly didn't drop his body weight on the other guy's legs. And when he fell, he just ended up on the ground. What happened there? He started wrapping his ankles. It's not like he started trying to go around the knees through his body and sideways get him on the ground. He's literally just dropped. Whether he dropped on purpose or not, he still dropped. And I didn't see it look like any sort of hip drop, anything.
Yeah, I think, as you just mentioned there, we're all confused as to what a hip drop is. Players and coaches have come out and said, look, it's not coached at training. These players are doing they've done these tackles all their careers, and it's just now something that's had a massive crackdown and spotlight on, and fans are getting frustrated and angry about these sort of tackles. And probably last night's example was a prime example where Pat got on report for a hip drop tackle, but got cleared today. So very strange one there. Reece Walsh, I think, is paying a fine, for a shoulder charge in saving a try. As well, and there was also a no try to the Melbourne Storm, a very interesting one there. I think Reece Walsh threw the ball. Justin Olam was coming in to make one of his trademark big hits on Reece Walsh, and Reece passed it into Justin's head, and it was a bit of a falcon, and I think it was Xavier Coates picked it up and ran the length of the field, but they awarded it no try. So, yes. Well, because I think they called it like a knock on or something like that, but it was an actual falcon, so it was off the head of Justin Olam.
Yeah, I thought it can only be a knock on if it's off your arm. So and you can score a try with anything from your head down to your knees. So you can't score a try with your feet apparently. So that just brings the whole world of things. That means if you fall over backwards and land on the ball, it's a try, and they start calling that a knock-on, so, they want to be consistent with that one, otherwise going to have a problem. So if it's just a falcon, that's a whole different thing. Accidental offside is a different thing, but surely would have made it clear to understand what it was.
Yeah, so certainly some different sort of rulings in that game, but Melbourne will be happy to get that win and get their season back on track. And for the Broncos, well, that's just a loss that they've had, and I think they still sit nice and pretty up the top of the NRL ladder.
Yeah, they don't have anything to worry about. I know that right now. In the game that's on tonight, or the first game that's on tonight, got the Bulldogs up against Warriors, and the Warriors in form. I think they were pretty good last week against Panthers too. They're up 18-6, 53 minutes in here against the Bulldogs. Bulldogs going to have a tough night here. I don't think they're going to break the momentum here. The Warriors look pretty good, and they're going to roll on. I think we could win.
Yeah, look, as you said, the Warriors have been playing some really good football this year. They're not the Warriors of old where they'd be hot one week and then cold the next, and you didn't know which Warriors team would turn up. They've been putting it to these big teams, and as you said, they gave it to the Panthers last week. They didn't come away with the win, but they certainly showed up in Magic Round, and earlier this season they got the win against the Cronulla Sharks, who are one of this season's favourites to win the comp. So, yeah, they're playing some really good footy. Sean Johnson is having a great season at the moment with the Warriors. A couple of try assists tonight, and the last try before half-time to DWZ, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, was just great vision from Sean Johnson. The Warriors made a long break down the field, then the Bulldogs were at 6s and 7s, and Sean Johnson just noticed way out wide on the touchline DWZ and just kicked the ball over to him, and they scored a try. So he's playing some great footy, Sean Johnson, at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So if the Warriors get the win tonight too, so what people don't know, they're sitting in 11th, but a win tonight will take them to as high as 6th if they can get the for and against. So the Dolphins on a positive 9 for and against, the Gold Coast on -9, the Warriors are on -18, so they've reeled 12 of that back in, so it's -6. At the moment, if they get this win, they'll be sitting in 7th place before Panthers take on the Roosters. Now, if Penrith win, they'll sit in 7th and keep going forward. If the Roosters win, well, they can drop back to 8th, the Gold Coast will drop out, and potentially, so all these permeations start to come into play then. So I'd say the competition's tighter than what it has been in quite a while now, so it looks pretty good going forward.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this season, NRL has been probably the closest it has been in a long time. I think someone mentioned it the other day, it was in about 50 years or something like that, but you can just see how close this competition is, and you just have to be, the teams just have to be on that day to get the win. As we said, the Warriors have been playing some great footy this year. The Broncos are leading the competition. The Panthers have struggled a little bit, but are still there and abouts. The Roosters the same. The Dolphins, who everyone, or not everyone, but most people sort of predicted them to be down the bottom of the ladder. They're in the top 8 at the moment. So, yeah, the closeness of the teams is just remarkable. And as I said, anybody on their day can get the win. It's making it very hard for tipping comps, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So I think Penrith at the moment will probably be aiming for a top 4 finish. Anyway, if they can make top 4, they'll be right. They'll be confident. They've got the skills, experience, and all of that sort of stuff to be able to roll on and get to a grand final or get through to semi-finals fairly unscathed. They might not make the grand final, but they'll be pretty confident about that. So they got the Roosters tonight, so 8 o'clock. I genuinely think Penrith will win this game. I don't think there'll be a lot in it, maybe 10 points. The Panthers, so it'll be big enough it won't be super close. Wouldn't surprise me if the Roosters pulled off the win, so I don't think they'll get it. I think they're a bit patchy at the moment, and I think they're going to drop the game.
Yeah, look, it's a replay of the 2003 grand final, so I think the Panthers are celebrating the 20-year anniversary of that grand final. I think there's a lot of the 2003 team at Penrith tonight, so that's great to see. But yeah, the Roosters this week have been under well, they probably wouldn't call it pressure, but they've certainly been in the news this week with the talk about Sam Walker, the talk about Joseph Suaalii as well. So there's been a lot of talk about the Roosters this week, and especially after their performance last week in Magic Round against the Cowboys, where they went down 20-6, I think it was. So a lot of pressure on them. For the Panthers, Liam Martin returns on the interchange bench, so he may be trying to get a couple of games under his belt to maybe get a Origin spot. But yeah, you're right. I would probably think that the Panthers would get this win, and I'd be tipping the Panthers.
Yeah, 100%. So talking about Sam Walker too, says the chat today, apparently he's getting offered up to the Dolphins, so I'm not sure. I wouldn't not sign him. They'd be a good pickup to have. You got Sean O'Sullivan and you got Katoa, so surely you don't want another half like that. I would think he'd be a perfect fit for West Tigers, but I don't know if he'd want to give up success he's got. Although West Tigers, they could build something around someone like Sam Walker, 100% for sure. They've got a lot of good young talented guys, and they need a younger guy to come in and that can dominate it and do it, or something else like that. The other option would be maybe a Newcastle would be an option for him too. So they're both looking for rebuild situations and would be good. I would have thought Gold Coast at the start of the year, but Gold Coast are holding their own now, looking pretty good. So they don't really need to pick up another half at the moment. They're all right with what they've got.
Yeah, there's a few options out there for Sam. The Roosters are saying that he'll be staying at the Roosters. That they probably won't be letting him go, but we all know in rugby league sometimes that can mean one thing and something else actually happens. A bit of news out of tonight actually that Sam was supposed to play in the New South Wales Cup game between the Roosters and the Panthers, but had to pull out with a knee injury, so I think it was. So we don't know how long he'll be out for, so he'll be out for a few weeks, you would imagine. So certainly interesting times as to where Sam Walker's career is at the moment. I get a feeling that he's probably going to stay at the Roosters, and this is maybe just a mental challenge to try and build his confidence back up and get back into that first grade squad.
Well, yeah, he's got to earn his spot, so I think he's doing a good job. I would have thought he'd be going close to Origin selection for Queensland, because I think he's a Queenslander too, and earmarking him for potential, if not this year, in the next couple of years. So
yeah,
he'd be a good half behind Daly Cherry. So.
Yeah. Well, you got DCE as the captain, but for Queensland, but. Yeah, I think he'll be staying at the Roosters, and the good thing, I guess, for Sam at the moment is that the Roosters haven't really been firing since he hasn't played first grade. So
pretty strong case to put forward.
That's right. Maybe that Joey Manu at 5'8" role is not the right position for Joey. Who knows?
I can tell you, Joey Manu, he grinds my gears. I don't like the guy. I can't help it. I don't like it. I don't think I like him. He's signed for Penrith. He's one of those guys who he presses all the wrong buttons for me. So that's not going to change, unfortunately, for him. So tomorrow we've got Souths up against West Tigers. So can Tigers fans dream of a third win? So if they do it tomorrow, they're going to have to earn it. So Souths are going to go out there, going to put some points on you. So number one, you're going to want to tackle like you did against Penrith. Number two, you're going to need to find some points, and you haven't been able to really do that yet. So they're going to have a tough day tomorrow, I'm thinking, and they're not going to get 3 in a row.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Tigers fans are daring to dream to get that third win in a row, because the Rabbitohs are definitely hitting their straps at the moment and stringing those couple of wins together and looking like one of the premiership favourites. In fact, I think they, with one of the betting agencies, I'm not too sure who it was, but they were premiership favourites at the moment. So Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, they may be pushing for, and Damien Cook as well, pushing for New South Wales Origin selection along with Cameron Murray. So it's coming in these next couple of weeks are the auditions for those New South Wales spots, so they're coming into form as well. So, I can't see the Tigers getting this win. Two traditional rivals, the Tigers and the Rabbitohs. So it should be a good game. Hopefully the Tigers can turn up and make it a contest with the confidence that they have gained from their two victories. But it is going to be tough, and I'll tip the Rabbitohs in this one.
Yeah, 100%. Will be tough. It will be tough for West Tigers for sure. South side, the other form side of the competition at the moment, and probably they would be my tip if I had to put someone into a grand final now. They're very consistent. Penrith would have to be there or thereabouts because they've just done it too many times at the moment not to be. They've put themselves in like the Melbourne Storm ticket about 5 or 6 years ago, so they're always going to be considered right up around there. But South, they are standout performers at the moment. I'm going to say West Tigers are going to get the win here. We're going to win by 10.
That's bold.
We'll go for it. You got to have about 40 points in your boys, seriously. So, Luke Brooks, if you're going to have a good game, do it tomorrow. You need it. So, got the Cowboys up against St George Illawarra. So, I think Anthony Griffin's going to have a tough day. He's got the chance to get the win here, but mentally, Jackson Bird came out swinging away at the other day, said fans don't know what they're about or anything like that. He's very upset, hacking on Anthony Griffin. I think he's getting the rough end of the pineapple too here, Anthony Griffin, but I don't think he's going to get the good end of the pineapple after this weekend either. I think Todd Payton and his team are going to pick up the win.
Yeah, well, I hope Jack Bird doesn't listen to this show because, we're fans and we've got our opinions, so he probably doesn't listen to this show. But, look, it's going to be a tough day for the Dragons. Again, they've been in the spotlight all week with their coach, Anthony Griffin, under the pump. A good thing is, though, it's Ben Hunt's 300th game in the NRL, so congratulations to Ben on reaching that milestone. I think he is the 47th.
One of the unsung players too. Yeah, 100%. So he's definitely one of the unsung players. So underrated for what he does on the field. 100%.
Yeah, that's it. So I think he's the 47th player to reach that 300 game milestone. But it is going to be tough. I think the Dragons stayed in Queensland last week after Magic Round, so for this game. So they haven't been back to New South Wales. So something a little bit different there. But the Cowboys, well, they really turned back the clock to last week against the Roosters, and really got that defensive game back, which they were known for last season. And they never gave the Roosters a chance last week, so they'll get some massive confidence out of that game. And back at home, it's 14th versus 16th, so in these games anything could happen, but I just think that the Cowboys will get this win and just string those two wins together. And it's always as I said before, it's a very interesting time these couple of weeks before Origin, because those players that are on the cusp of Origin tend to maybe step it up a little bit more in each game to get selection. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, so do you think Cowboys played a bit of turn back time from Sher last week to get motivated and pumped up? So when she's on that Navy ship and that stuff, the warship, so surely that would get you motivated. If I can't get you motivated enough, and will.
Possibly a good chance, because as I said, they had that defensive game back again, and that's what they'll be looking to do again this week against the Dragons. But I'll tip the Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so Canberra up against tomorrow hosting them. So Canberra have been playing pretty well lately, actually. So they're in a tough position in the middle of the field where it's super tight in the NRL. They could a win here will really start to sink them in, get them in towards the top 8 and get a good position for them. And the Eels, they're playing like they were last year, to be honest with you. They're pretty patchy at the moment. 1 week they're on, 1 week they're off. 1 week they look like they're going to win the grand final. Next week they look like they should be a New South Wales Cup team. You don't know what they're going to bring out. And I honestly think Canberra will probably get the win here because the cold weather is going to have an X-factor effect on this game, I think.
Yes, well, apparently someone told me today that it's going to be about 6 or 7 degrees tomorrow night down in Canberra, so very cold. So rug up if any of the listeners are going down there. I won't be going down there tomorrow night, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it. But look, it's a tough ask for Parramatta. They don't have the best record down in Canberra. I think they've won the last 2 times they've been down there, so that could be a bit of confidence building for that. But as you were talking about before, it's been a bit of a different season for Parramatta. Injuries and suspensions this season have seen players come in, come out. Even this week, we see Mitchell Moses out with the concussion he suffered last week against the Titans. So that brings in Jake Arthur to the halfback. His first NRL game for this season. So they may be buoyed as well on the news that Jermaine Hopgood has signed on for another 2 years at the club. So he's there till the end of 2025. But the Raiders, they're looking to win 5 games in a row, and that's probably the biggest winning streak in the NRL this season if they can do that, because as we said before, the closeness of the competition, anybody can be on. So they'll be wanting to get that win, and as you said, go into the top 8. They're currently sitting in 9th position, but a win on Saturday will get them definitely into the top 8, and they're playing some good footy. The concerning thing for the Canberra side is they can probably get to a lead, but then they let in a lot of points as well. So we saw that against the Canterbury Bulldogs last week, and also the week before against the Dolphins, where it went to golden points. So they'll be a little bit wary of that, because I think Parramatta on their day can score a lot of points, and it's a return of Josh Hodgson for the first time as a Parramatta player down to Canberra. So that'll be interesting to see the reception he gets down there.
Yes, right. Parramatta can chase a game too, so they're pretty good at doing that. And Canterbury, they just don't seal games. So even the grand final against the Roosters, they look like they could win it, and then just went into like a meander mode, and just that was it. That was the best they got. I think they're a little bit different this year. I think they can probably do it. So losing Moses is going to be a big loss for the Eels. Jake Harper, he's going to cop it if Parramatta lose. If they win, Moses will come back when he's not injured anyway. So it's a tough one. This next game is going to be a tough one too. Newcastle against Gold Coast. So I'm actually going for Gold Coast. So I think they're in very good form. I think they'll do well, but Newcastle have a very good side. And if they all play well on their day, Kalen Ponga plays, and he plays well, they should win. But I actually think Gold Coast will get the points here. I think it'll be fairly close, and I think it'll be a fairly high-scoring game, like 26-22 or something like that as well.
Yeah, you sort of get the feeling it might be one of those games where a lot of points is scored. The Titans having a last couple of wins against Parramatta and also Manly down at Brookvale. Newcastle, well, some of them should be nice and relaxed and refreshed after their week over in Bali.
Going to Bali.
Yeah, after they had the bye last week, missing out on Magic Round, so a few of them went over to Bali. Which is another conversation as well, but probably something that I wouldn't have done, or if I was coach, I probably wouldn't have let happen, but they did. So anyway, that's last week. It will all show on the field this week against the Titans. So, but as you said, they've got a good side there. Dane Gagai, Bradman Best, Kalen Ponga, Jackson Hastings. Yeah, they've got a good side there. And at Newcastle, 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, an afternoon game, they should have a massive crowd there. The crowd up at Newcastle always support their team, whether they're winning or losing, but they always turn up. Tough road trip for Gold Coast. That they can get the job done. Kieran Foran turned back the clock again last week and scored 2 tries against the Eels and played some really good footy there. David Fafita had one of his better games last week and against Manly the week before, so he's slowly coming into form as well. Maybe another Queensland Origin player looking to get selections. That's maybe why he's stepping it up a little bit as well. Look, it's going to be one of those close games. I'm going to tip Newcastle in this one only because it's probably at home.
Yeah, and I think Jackson Hastings, he did a good job with West Tigers last year. When they lost him, they lost direction. When he come to Newcastle, I think he gave them something they didn't have, right? So, which was once again direction and some leadership, because I think too much was rested on Ponga's shoulders last year to make it happen. And if he didn't do it, it didn't happen. So now I've got a bit more of a diverse spread who's going to call the plays, and that gives them more strike weapons on the field too. I think Jackson Hastings can get a job done. I think Gold Coast will genuinely beat them because Gold Coast are in good form, but the whole Newcastle thing, that always comes into play. That will be probably one of the tightest games around. This next one, but I feel sorry for Manly. They're hosting Cronulla. I don't think Nico Hines is going to have two bad games in a row. I think the Sharks got their pants pulled down and spanked last week. I wouldn't want to be Manly. I don't think Manly's in great touch at the moment, and they might have a hard day tomorrow.
Yeah, on Sunday down at Brookie.
Sunday.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. The Battle of the Beaches, Cronulla and Manly. So depends on whereabouts you stand on that call. But yeah, look, the Sharks, they certainly, as you said, got their pants pulled down by the Dolphins last week at Magic Round, and they won't want to be having two losses in a row. In this part of the season, they'll want to get back in that winner's circle and get the win. Nico Hines obviously is the key to Cronulla, the way he's been playing last year and this year as well. Probably had a bit of an off day last week, but he'll be wanting to get back again, another player pushing for an Origin spot. On the other side of the coin, Manly back at home. They were disappointing against the Gold Coast a couple of weeks ago at home. They were good against Parramatta early on in the season. They really like playing at Brookvale. But I was actually at the airport last Saturday about to fly out to Magic Round, and they were coming home and they came off the plane. And I saw Tom Trbojevic come off the plane, and he just didn't look too happy. Like obviously the performance of the team the night before, and he just didn't look too happy at the moment. He didn't look in a happy space, and we can see that on the field as well. There was a chase against Selwyn Cobbo, I think it was, and I think maybe if it was a couple of years ago, the old Tommy Turbo would have caught him, and but this year I think he's just he's a bit wary of his hamstring, I think. He may deny that, but it's just not the same Tommy Turbo that we've seen play before. So, look, it's going to be an interesting game, but I think the Sharks will get the victory in this one.
Yeah, I think the Sharks will get the victory too. So, going to have a look at some other rugby league news. So, Mitchell Pearce has come out today and said he's happy to come back to the NRL. So, surely he's looking at West Tigers, right? So surely they'd be looking at him because they need a half, right? And you'd pay overs for Mitchell Pearce because he can get the job done. So I didn't like him when he was at Roosters, to be honest with you. I thought he was arrogant and I didn't think he achieved his potential. He went to Newcastle. I thought he did a fairly good job with a fairly flat team that looked like they were in the wrong place and didn't care. So he's playing good again now. If he come back, I actually think he could add something very valuable to the team. And he's probably the kind of guy they need that's out there, it's arrogant, taking a bit of, they can dish a bit out and take it and, maybe direct them around the field and let them forward. So would you be signing him up if you were West Tigers and you could get him?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously he's got that experience. He's come back and said that he would like a swan song in the NRL. Not to win a comp or anything, but just to, have a crack and prove himself in the NRL for one more year. He's been over in France playing for Catalans and in the English Super League, so he's seen both sides of the world and played in both leagues. But I think he's also said that he wants to come back to the Roosters as well, so that'll be an interesting fit if he goes there, because they obviously got Sam Walker there and Luke Cleary and Joey Manu as well. So I think when he does, if he does come back, then the Tigers would be a good fit. I mean, obviously, his father, Wayne, played for the Balmain Tigers, so it'd be nice to see Mitchell play there. But if he went to the Tigers, you would think that he would probably be maybe a 14, maybe playing a bit of a 14 role, maybe. Play a little bit of halfback. Yeah, a bit of halfback and a bit of maybe hooker as well. Because you wouldn't sign someone like that and play him in New South Wales Cup, so he'd have some spot in the team somewhere. So probably a 14 role maybe, and play a bit of halfback, 5'8", and maybe hooker as well.
Yeah, I can't see why he'd go to the Roosters seriously. So I can't see why the Roosters would entertain it. What would be the point? So they've got Sam Walker there. They've got Cleary there, unless they think Cleary's like a head knock away from retiring or something like that. Joey Manu, like I said, Mike Ryan McGee's, he plays all right, but where do you fit him in the picture? So if you sign Mitchell Pearce, if you're serious about that and you're looking at him as benchy, well, you don't need Joey Manu then at all. You may as well get rid of him. So unless you're going to play him on the wing, and that's a waste of talent. So they're obviously looking for, what do we do now? Suali's leaving, or Suali's leaving. Joey Manu would probably be that guy at the moment, or maybe put him in the centres. So I see him a bit like a Shannon Haggerty style player that can play off the ball too, right? So, I don't know. If you took him out of 5'8", I don't know where you're going to jig him around to fit him in the lineup. You could probably play him at fullback as well, but Tedesco's there, so I don't know how versatility can hurt some people sometimes. I think it's good for Joey Manu in his favour, but I don't know. So I wouldn't sign him. I don't know why you'd sign Mitchell Pearce, so it's all good. I'd like to go and play for Penrith too. You reckon they're going to sign me on 45? I don't think so.
Minimum wage, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Minimum wage, you never know.
Yeah, pick up 85 grand. I was trained two nights a week and go and play on Sundays. That sounds good. So New South Wales Cup, here I come. So genuinely, I don't see how it would fit in. So I don't think you go to Newcastle again, because I don't think that ended well. Could probably do a job with St George Illawarra as well. So there's a couple of clubs he could fit into if he came back. Maybe the Cowboys. I just don't think that's what he's looking for. I think it's the Sydney option. The Sydney option would be West Tigers or maybe St George Illawarra. So I can't see anyone else that really needs a half that's going to do what he wants to do, unless Manly went down that avenue as well.
Yeah, well, I think he's always had that good relationship with the Roosters. Even when he did leave the Roosters, he had that good relationship with them. So I think probably the Tigers is one that he could go to. I don't think he'd go to Manly or St George. I think it depends on how long Ben Hunt stays there, depending on how long Anthony Griffin stayed there for, I guess. But because they obviously got Ben Hunt there at halfback. So, he could play that 14 role as we said. So, I guess it'd be a watch this space. But I mean, it's always good to see players come back to the NRL once they've gone overseas and played in the English Super League, because you get a little bit of you watch them play in the NRL and they go over there and just to come over here and prove himself once again and play a swan song year.
Yeah, I'll make a bold long-term prediction. So this is not a this year or next year thing. And pencil this in for about 3 or 4 years down the track. I'm pretty certain this will happen. If Souths win the premiership, I think Latrell Mitchell will sign with Dolphins, Redcliffe Dolphins.
Wow, that's a massive call, that one.
About 2 years after they win the comp. So if they win the comp, let's say they won it this year, 2023, come 2026, I reckon he'd be available and he'd look at Redcliffe Dolphins. So why? Because I think he's got the opportunity to do something different, be one of their big strike players, play with some good young players. He'll be a bit older than Latrell, and maybe that's the sort of change he looks. I think he needs something like that to drive him. So that's a big bold call. We'll pencil that one in. So
okay,
I'll keep this later.
Yep.
We'll have a look if it happens. There you go. We'll go and celebrate it. If it doesn't happen, I'll shout you a case of beer.
No worries. I'll wait till 2026 then. That's a bold call. That one, big call.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just look at it all the time. I think there's different players that would potentially play in another environment if different things went in their way. Like if Penrith won again another competition or two, I think Nathan Cleary would probably be looking at the end of 2025, maybe what his options are like, and he probably might consider the rugby option too a bit more seriously if they have a chat to him again. Wouldn't be this year, next year. He's signed for Penrith till the end of 2025, but for Rugby World Cups in Australia in 2027, he said he would entertain giving it a crack. Well, that'd be around about the time you do it. Why would you do it after the World Cup?
Yeah, no, look, that's an interesting thought. I mean, I personally don't think he will go to rugby union, but if you're a player like Nathan Cleary who has achieved everything in the game so young, I mean, he's already won a couple of premierships, he's played in 3 grand finals, he's played Origin. I think probably winning consistent Origin series is probably next on his radar, because he hasn't had the massive success in Origin that he has had at club level. He's only just started playing for Australia. He played in the World Cup last year for Australia, won a World Cup final. So he's only just started playing for Australia, so I think he would want to get some more games there. But we don't play as many games these days for internationally. But I mean, yeah, as you said, I mean, that could be an option, but I don't think he'll be going to rugby union or maybe even entertain the idea. I think he's a rugby league man through and through.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. Yeah, they're long-term things too. I think they have. I think one of them two players, their situation they're doing right now is going to change. So I think Nathan Cleary would go to another NRL club. Not sure if he would. He might do like a Craig Gower type thing. Maybe some other club will come in. Maybe he'll get offered some new challenge, because that's got to be what motivates you, surely. So that's what motivates me to do stuff with like the challenges, not necessarily the straight up success. Straight up success would tell you just stay with Penrith and keep putting together a dynasty. That could be a thing he wants to do too, like make it like a Melbourne Storm. But I would think that the guy needs some motivation out there, the same as Latrell. And yeah, if either of their sides keep winning competitions the next couple of years, particularly Southside won a couple more or one in between now and 2025, wouldn't surprise me one little bit, 2026, if he ends up at Redcliffe in particular. So, because I think he'll like the challenge there. I would imagine Christian Wolf would be in charge by then and probably be looking for some more depth and that sort of stuff. He'd be the kind of guy you'd be looking for really for that side.
Some interesting bold predictions there. Have you got a bold prediction about a 18th team where that would be? Because by 2025, 6-7, there might be an 18th team.
Yep. Yeah. So I would like the 18th team to be in Perth, or Perth or WA. Say Perth because that's the biggest population base to put it in. If you're going to put it in WA, I think there'll be another Brisbane team, and I don't know if it'll be a Brisbane team as such, or like an Ipswich, or maybe someone in between Brisbane or Redcliffe Dolphins and Townsville. So I don't know if Cairns could sustain the team. I'm not sure how strong the competition is. I do think there'll be another Brisbane team, another Queensland team.
Okay, so we're looking at 19 teams by 2027 or something?
Yeah, so I reckon you have 18 teams, so there'll be another Queensland team in there in between now and then. So I'd like to have a Perth team.
Yep.
I'm just not sure the ball's going to bounce like that. I think it'll be another Queensland team.
Yeah, I think probably Perth would probably be a great fit for a rugby league team.
And I think they might try to drop it 2027 or 2028, because that's 2027 is when the Rugby World Cup's on. So Peter V'landys is pretty big with the bold statements, so that's pretty bold to do that. He wouldn't mind taking that on head on. So I can tell you right now, he's not going to try to give rugby union a free kick. So if it's going to work, that I think is all the eggs are pointing towards 2027 if it's going to happen. I suppose the NRL's got the money to make it work. So they just need to have a look. I know there's been plenty of Queensland teams looking around outside of Redcliffe Dolphins as well. So it's a pretty logical choice. The other choices, I suppose, you've got New Zealand side as well at Wellington. I'm not sure how well it'll be received, because that is heavy rugby union area there. So it's not like Auckland. Auckland do have a lot more rugby league up there. I didn't see as much rugby over in New Zealand when I was there, or in Wellington anyway, in 2007. But different time now, 16 years ago. So maybe it is different. So, but yeah, my prediction would be the next team comes in as another Queensland team. Central Coast get, we want a team, You're not going to, I don't think you're going to get a team. So, because it's like, in between areas, unfortunately. So, someone could relocate. So, I don't know who'd relocate at the moment, unless the West Tigers relocated. So, they're just struggling, I would think. If they kept not having success, maybe that would be something that might happen as well. So,
yeah, interesting times.
See what happens.
Interesting times, 100%. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So who you reckon's going to come in next, Troy?
Oh, look, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I don't think I'm no expert, but I don't think there'll be another Queensland team. I think the next team that will come in probably will be Perth, a team based out in WA, and I think that maybe just because of the TV broadcasting times, probably works a little bit better. So I think maybe Perth will get the nod, and then you never know. It could be an Adelaide team, and then the Origin this season. I think game 1 is going to Adelaide, so they're getting a taste of rugby league, the best rugby league that you can play, State of Origin. So they've obviously got a keen interest in rugby league. So maybe long term down the track they may get a team, and then I'd like to see it become like a truly national rugby league. So we're called the NRL, so why not make it a national rugby league and try eventually one day to have teams in every state.
Yeah, that would be the aim. So I think it can be achievable, but that would be like 20-year project. So they'll be working towards now. Peter V'landys is pretty bold, so his imagination is pretty good. So I think the NRL, they're going to want to try to match what the AFL's, and I think they're going to want to try to get a leg up on the AFL too, to be honest with you. So who are trying to get their 20th team up and running shortly as well, or their 19th team, and then the 20th team shortly after. So they've got Tasmania coming in. If you watch within a couple of years of that, the 20th team will be in. So I don't know where that will drop over. There'll probably be another WA team, I think, maybe a Canberra side, so we'll find out in time.
Yeah, the AFL, as you said, have gone down to Tasmania, and they've got Perth, Adelaide, Queensland, Sydney, obviously, Victoria, Tasmania in a few years. So they're slowly getting around there into being a national competition. The only place they haven't been into is the Northern Territory, but for a competitive professional side. But they do play obviously a lot of AFL up in that area, as they do rugby league as well. We saw the Parramatta Eels take up their home game to Darwin and play the Brisbane Broncos. So there's a lot of rugby league played up there and also watched up there. They enjoy it up there, so maybe long term down the track, maybe a team up there. It's just all I guess about money, and I guess about having the right amount of players as well, and just having that quality competition. So it is an interesting space.
Yeah, if they do put a Queensland team in, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a Queensland team either. It could be based in Queensland, but like a Pacific Island team, similar to like what they got for the rugby, or a Kumul's team, Papua New Guinea team that are based in Queensland, play some games in Papua New Guinea too. So you could see something like that. Just the funding thing would stop it from happening, but that's why and how I can envisage another Queensland side getting in at the moment. So be interesting to see where it all goes. Anyway, on the weekend,
work tomorrow, then I'll catch the Eels versus Raiders game tomorrow night, and I may catch a little bit of the game beforehand. and Sunday is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Hope you have a good day out there. I know I'll probably be helping my daughter Ella help celebrate Amanda with Mother's Day, so maybe breakfast in bed or something, I don't know, like that, but celebrate Mother's Day. Might even have a coffee with my mum as well on Mother's Day. So yeah, just a casual little weekend. Put out a couple of podcasts, and that's about it. Watch some footy.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good way to do it indeed. Troy, I'll let you go, and we'll catch you again on Sunday night here with us on Pulse FM Weekend Sports Wrap.
Not a problem, Duckman. Thank you very much for having me. Enjoy your footy, and I'll catch you on Sunday.
Absolutely will do. Thanks a lot, Troy. I'll chat to you then.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next time.